Welcome back. This is the second of two episodes that I had a need to replace the commentary track after the original video was recorded because of a failure in Audacity. It lost a good hour's worth of perfectly good commentary and forced me to have to replace it. Anyway, this picks up right where the previous video left off, in that I'm using some sand here to identify where down there, the one end of the, well, this end of the ramp that is going to come up here for a minecart track is going to have to be. And after derping around here for a minute or two, picking up and dropping the wrong blocks and so on, or breaking the wrong stuff, finally get it straight. And widen the thing out because the track needs to be off to this side here where the space is now. And the idea is to drop sand on this end, which shows where this end of the ramp is going to have to be. And then I take the number of blocks equal to a number of blocks of sand equal to how high the difference is from down there to up above, and just stretch a line of sand out there, and that shows me where the ramp has to begin. My explanation of it is not very good, and it's only a little bit better than the uncommented video that you're looking at. But in the end, it works out to being a minecart track ramping down from up at the original level down here to one block above the void. And of course, before getting started, I have to take care of the obsessive compulsive thing about torch placement, of course, which I'm sure all Minecrafters understand that. And then of course I start placing sand without finishing that, and I have to do that. Oh, I am so glad that I don't have to, after this video, do any more after the fact commentary, because it's no fun at all doing that. I'm sure anybody that's ever had to do that will understand that. I honestly was tempted to ditch this bit of video and just record something else instead, but I figured since I had the video, and it's a perfectly good video, I might as well keep it and use it. Fortunately, I don't have to do this again for episode 250, which is the next episode, this one being 249. And with episode 250 will come a link in the description of that video for the first ever download for this world. And I don't know how often I'm going to do that kind of download thing, but this one's been, of course, in the works for quite some time to come, and it's definitely long overdue. See here, I don't remember what I was doing, why I came all the way up there only to end up going all the way back down. Just totally wonderful. Okay, apparently I botched my count the first time, so I'm redoing it. At least that's the best guess I've got right now. I don't know. I do know that it finally works out into a decent minecart track, and it makes for an easier trip over to the Ender farm. Well, in other news, has been one cool development. Those that are also interested in Kerbal Space Program no doubt already know that 0.17 has been released, and with that there have been some considerable additions to the program, and specifically there have been 4 new planets added to the Kerbal star system, and several moons. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Moho is the only new planet that doesn't have a moon. And it's probably because that one is closest to the sun. It's kind of an analog to our Mercury. And then the next one out is called Eve, which is supposed to be kind of a Venus-like kind of planet. You can see the general theme here. It's in a lot of ways being very similar to our own solar system. And I believe I think it's got a moon. I don't remember. And then there is one planet out from Kerbin. There is Duna, which is a Mars analog, and it has a moon, Ike. Why they named the moon Ike, I will never understand, but I suppose that's cool. I mean, they could have named it Fred. And then the planet Jewel, a gas giant, kind of a Jupiter analog, although this one appears to be green instead of rainbow striped like Jupiter. And it has 4 moons, which I believe are analogs to the Galilean moons of Jupiter. Although obviously a planet that size would more than likely have more moons than just 4. It's just that those are the ones they've implemented so far. And some new parts and so on, including a nuclear rocket engine that I'm planning to use in an upcoming design. In a ship that I do believe should be able to actually make it to and land on Duna. And who knows, maybe even lift off and return from. But anyway, I suppose that's enough about Kerbal Space Program in a Minecraft video. I know there are some people who really would rather not hear about Kerbal Space Program. But what can I say? That's what I've been doing. When I'm not doing Minecraft and taking care of other things that I have to do, then Kerbal Space Program is what I've been doing. And I have to tell you, it's really one of the coolest things I've seen come along in a long time. Easily the coolest thing since Minecraft. And in its own way, I think it has just as much potential. But anyway, here I am doing the place a block and jump up and back up and do it again thing for creating the ramp for the minecart track. Once again, I'm working over the empty spaces and way high up and all that, in spite of my in real life serious problem with heights. It doesn't manifest itself in game too much, although in building the trap that was a problem with all that working directly over the void. Anyway, I'm not exactly sure what project I'm going to get into after episode 250. I know there's a whole bunch of things that are in various stages of not quite finished or half done or only just barely begun. And I want to be working on all of those. Exactly which ones and in what order I couldn't begin to tell you, but they're there to be worked on, so I'll eventually get to all of them. For that matter, and I still think there's things in 1.3.2 that I still haven't gotten into or gotten a hold of or anything like that. Like, for example, the ocelots. For a while, it seemed like everybody was making videos about finding and taming ocelots, and then after not very long, you stopped seeing the ocelots in people's videos. And it's kind of like the same thing as when the wolves were first introduced in 1.6, I think it was. In beta 1.6, when the wolves were first introduced, everybody and their brother had to go get a wolf and do videos that included the wolves. And it didn't take long until people stopped paying any attention to the wolves. You didn't see them anymore. Nobody did anything with them. And I think once in a while I've seen Hypno and some of the hermit crafters using wolves. But other than that, I don't think I've seen anybody using wolves recently. And I certainly haven't seen anything involving the ocelots or tamed cats anytime in the last 4 or 5 weeks. Something like that. So I wonder. I guess the ocelots were just another 9-day wonder. Everybody's all excited about them at first, and then after a while it's just, oh well. I don't know, I might see about doing something about the cats, because they do have a good feature. Creepers are afraid of them. You know, from what I've seen, they can be irritating as all get out, and have a habit of sitting on chests that you're trying to access, and things like that. And then, of course, there's the meowing, which is almost as annoying as the whining of the wolves. But they do have their uses. You know, I can see stationing a bunch of them around someplace just to keep the creepers away. Assuming, of course, they will stay where you put them. That I honestly don't know about. I'm not sure that they did initially, but there's been some updates and tweaks since they were first put in, so who knows, maybe they do. Anyway, don't mind me, I'm kind of rambling on here, trying to fill this empty void of video. The empty void where an audio track is supposed to be and isn't. And appropriate that I'm doing that while the video in question is dealing with the void itself, or working just over the void. I don't know, this is normally sort of work in a video that I would actually either snip out or speed up. Because when I'm doing it, there isn't really a whole lot of talking I can do, because I have to concentrate on what I'm doing, especially to keep from falling off of things, and so on. And I think by speeding it up, I'm just making it easier all the way around. I'm showing what's being done, and at the same time cutting it short, so that I mean, just how many times can you watch minecart track being laid down? You know, after a while it becomes enough to see that it's happening and then cut to the part where it's done. But then again, not everybody has the same opinion about that. It's like, like I've mentioned before, I don't personally have a great interest in watching people mine, and don't really get why anybody else would want to, but as has been pointed out to me, there are people who actually enjoy watching people mine. So perhaps I'll have to see to it that I have some kind of talking or rambling points for the purpose of keeping up a conversational patter or whatever as I mine and do other humdrum things that I don't find all that super interesting to watch, but that somebody might want to watch. Or maybe it's just the sake of being complete. Of course, there's the idea. Of course. Oh, gee. Where did I learn to talk? Anyway, the idea of doing this uncut video thing. I don't know, I may start looking through comments and responding to comments in the video as I'm recording. Perhaps that would be one way to handle that. We'll see about that. And then, of course, by my doing things like that and the complete uncut thing, answering comments in the videos or questions or whatever, no doubt sooner or later some genius is going to pop up and say, "You're copying Kurt J. Mack." Oh, well, you know, first of all, I don't think he'd mind, and second of all, there is an old saying that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So, what the heck? If I'm copying him, it's a compliment. And I honestly don't know how long I'm going to keep up the uncut thing, the uncut way of doing videos. That is going to depend almost entirely on viewer feedback. It will, on my part, take a certain amount of getting used to, I have to say that. Well, looks like the track bed is almost all the way down. And then it's just a matter of lay down the track, and the slowest part of that is going to be doing the powered rail down the incline. Because on an incline, I'll put powered rail every other track. I've seen a lot of people just take an incline and put powered rail all the way up the thing, and I can see where that would be easier, but it's costing you twice as much gold to do that. And I have just enough of a miser in me that I'm not going to spend powered rails when I don't have to. And I did the testing when these things first came out, and on an incline, every other track. Less than that doesn't work very well at all. More than that is absolutely unnecessary. Oh. I'm also kind of thinking that perhaps this end of this track, close to this Ender Island, probably is going to need to be covered as well, because I really don't care to have them suckers spawning on my track and blocking my rails. You know, it's like the zombie pigmen on the nether track. You run into one of them and you end up bouncing off, and if you don't catch it right away, you can find yourself flying off in the wrong direction. Of course, at least with Enderman, if you attack one, you don't have every single one of them for 32 blocks around in all directions come running to attack you. That's a big difference. And of course, speaking about zombie pigmen reminds me of something I've thought about recently. and that is coming up with some way to build a zombie pigman farm from which to farm gold. Because those gold nuggets, you craft them into a gold bar, and from that into gold blocks, and it makes gold a renewable resource. Okay. Looks like I'm finally getting down to actually placing the track. Although I made a mistake and didn't put the powered rail at the first one on the top, thus having to stop and fix it. And I don't know what I'm pausing for here. Unless it's to do the track thing wrong again. Oh boy. And as I record this, I'm looking out the window, and already this early in the year, I'm already seeing the leaves changing colors. Fall is impending, and winter looms on the horizon like an evil fate. I don't know. I'm not trying to be poetic or anything. It's just how I feel about it. Winter approaching is a bad thing. Because despite the fact that Arkansas is in the southwest, it gets bloody cold around here in wintertime. Okay. I originally wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to have to speed this up until the track is finished being laid down, and then I'll be back. That's much better. One extremely repetitive task taken care of in a fourth of the time that it actually took, with some pretty decent music in the background. I must say, I really like some of the stuff you get at machinimasound.com. It's really some good stuff. Okay, at this point, yes, I'm making up some more powered rail so I can lay down the flat part of the track, heading out to the Ender farm, and get the rest of this thing done. And I'm probably going to accelerate that part of it as well, just simply to get it done. Because, like I've said before, how many times can you watch track being laid down? Now, if I had been just a little bit more prepared and looked up questions people had asked in comments recently and stuff like that, I'd probably go ahead and use that for what to talk about while the track was being laid down, because I can't for the life of me remember what I was saying originally. And what I'm going to have to do is I'm changing the way I record back to the way I used to do it. And I mean, it was nice using Audacity because it gave me the audio, my commentary on a separate audio track, which allowed me to be able to adjust audio levels a lot better and have a lot better overall sound. But the problem is that there are times when I have to do things the other way, when I need to use Fraps to do the recording, and I kept forgetting to switch back and forth, recording whole chunks of video with the microphone turned off or just plain disabled or whatever. In this case, I had everything right. I had the microphone on, I had it selected, Audacity was recording from it, Fraps was not, and everything was fine until Audacity locked up on me, which it never used to do. And I don't know why in the last couple of weeks it started doing that. I haven't changed anything. I'm a very firm believer in if something works, I don't fix it. And Audacity was working very nicely. Until it wasn't. Okay, now we're finishing the torch job that I started earlier. And then after that's finished, I get to run all the way back and get that minecart track laid down. All of which will be happening in episode 250, as I am finally reaching the end of this bit of pre-recorded video, the audio lost. And so, I'll say take it easy. Thanks for watching. I'm out of here.